Age Defying Fitness. Age Defying Fitness. This is episode 31 of the Josh Button Podcast. I am Josh Button. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Today I am going over a little topic that's very important to me. It has been for the last 7-8 years. I came across, issues in my health and a thought process that is very important to growth and maturation and to who I am today. I witnessed health outcomes across the board in our country, but that were somewhat close to me at the time that became paramount I would avoid. And first and foremost, as we age, as we get into our 70s and 80s, and most people are facing, especially in Southern America and America in general, are facing serious issues before that with their movement, with their energy, with how they are able to approach life every day. And viewing these outcomes through my own individual lens, I thought at 70 and 80, the most important things to me were that I could still live life, that I will still be able to move around well, be mobile, have energy, be able to be present, live, the most important thing, to live fearlessly, without the fear that around each and every corner and every obstacle every day is something that would really be a deterioration of life and an unhealthy situation that I could avoid. And how to avoid it? Well, consistency, planning, being prepared to engage plenty of discomfort now for hopefully a higher level of comfort, comparatively speaking, later. And comparison is the thief of joy. Fundamentally, I am a strong believer in that. However, if we don't have some kind of measuring stick, some kind of gauge, then we will not have any goals to really set for ourselves that outdo the standard, the norm. Oh, come on. Technical issues. Sorry about that. So my goals is to move well into my 70s and my 80s and hopefully longer. But the areas that I knew I would have to improve now before it's too late would be strength, balance, and mobility. And I knew that if I waited too long to start focusing on those things, that I was going to be doing myself a huge disservice. Because as a man, and as you reach middle age and start to get a little older into life, it becomes harder. It becomes harder to improve those things. And it becomes more essential that we have a good foundation for improving them. Otherwise, just with the extended length of time it takes to recover from normal exercises and activities, that's one thing that it should be paramount in our focus, is having a good solid foundation so that when it does get harder to recover and does start taking longer, well, we're ready for the next set of goals. We're ready for the next workouts and the next things that we should engage to, adapt, to improve. I knew I wanted to avoid doctors at all costs. What does that mean? That means I want to eat right. I want to monitor what goes into my body so that I am at least, stopping some of the toxins and stopping consuming some of the toxins that are normal for everyday people in everyday life here. If I could do that, then I thought it was a lot more feasible and a lot more possible that I could just avoid the doctor's office in general. I don't want them looking out for what might be wrong with me. I don't want things in my head that there might be things wrong with me, or that I have to start looking at things to fear at a certain age. I think that thought process in itself is a setup for failure. It's a setup for dis-ease. No, I don't want to go get my colon checked by a doctor at a certain age. I don't want to go and do these physicals religiously every 6 months to a year looking for something to be wrong. Article came out today, I believe it was this morning, about a doctor talking about the biggest hoax in medicine since COVID, or besides COVID, and it's cholesterol. Doctors are absolutely quick to rush you onto statin drugs if you have high cholesterol in the name of heart health. And look, if your cholesterol is too low, your body starts making it. That in itself should make you question the narrative. Cholesterol can't be that bad. It can't be a bad thing. And now, fortunately, there are plenty of doctors, heart cardiologists that are coming out and dispelling the notion that high cholesterol would leave you in danger of poor heart health, let alone that the pharmaceuticals, the statin drugs, would be an answer to or a remedy to this situation. I do not want to be in a place of questioning my body and my immune system and my own innate wisdom and my own health, so much so that I would outsource to experts or to doctors so that they would and could put me on a pharmaceutical that I would be dependent on for the rest of my life. So I want to avoid doctors, avoid pharma, avoid expensive problems and fatigue from going through this pattern of outsourcing to an expert who doesn't know my body like I do and doesn't know my life like I do. I would far rather take responsibility for my actions every day and be consistent in my movement, be consistent in my training, be consistent in what I'm monitoring, what I'm consuming, and be consistent with practices rather than live haphazardly and every now and then resort to going to an expert for his opinion on how to correct my living or my lifestyle choices. A lot of us have afflictions with food. A lot of us have afflictions with alcohol and with laziness and with things that are well within our control. And if we would just accept responsibility for them, I think, and I find it would be far better for our psychological/mental health if we did. If we didn't have the lab coats to run to and ask for answers to ailments that we've created ourselves, we would all be a little bit more responsible for our actions. And perhaps that's what's lacking the most with modern medicine and with the state of health as it is right now. We obviously have environmental things and technologies and products that are made for consumption that have been introduced to us in the last 100 years that are obviously wrecking health and obviously adding to the plague of unwellness, unwell society and culture. But there's also decisions that are placed upon us or in our daily activity or our life every single day. And we instead of monitoring these choices, would rather just do what the normal everyday man does and follow the crowd and then outsource to a doctor to solve our riddles. When perhaps that's not, and I would say it's definitely not the way to sustain good health and to sustain living better and having that goal of thriving. Why shouldn't we have the goal of thriving as opposed to surviving? I 100% believe that the retirement mentality is a plague in itself. Overstress ourselves, destroy our immune systems, destroy our posture, destroy many things that are attributing to quality of life every day on behalf of accruing enough commodity or enough possessions and enough money to retire. And then what? Then we're left in a condition that retirement is just not what it was cracked up to be. I want to avoid the retirement mentality. And one of those ways was deciding that I wouldn't work the 40 to 60 hours per week for someone else and at my own detriment. If I'm putting in that kind of time to something that I am passionate about and can monitor its toll upon my system, well, then that's a different story altogether. But I think that this mentality, the go-getter mentality, the not prioritizing sleep and wellness and recovery for getting ahead is absolutely fundamentally wrong. It's just setting us up for failure. Over and over and over and over again, we see it too. Somebody works and charges and just, well, they sell themselves short because their goals are, they're in line with consumption. I need this, I need that, I want this, I want that, I need $1 million in the bank, I have to have my mortgage almost paid off, and I want to retire and have this amount of money per month for the last 20 years of my life, 10 years, 15 years. And we see it all the time that people retire and then they die. They don't prioritize their health, their wellness, their movement, their ability to thrive for 30 years working for somebody else, and unfortunately, they have nothing for themselves when it's all said and done. Absolutely nothing. I want to avoid that. And the ways that we can, and the ways that we can enjoy life and avoid that mentality are by prioritizing things that we're passionate about that help, well, keep us motivated, and at the same time, not focus so much on the end goal of retiring to do nothing. And if we are engaging things that we think we want to do for the rest of our lives, that's an excellent step in that direction. I started jiu-jitsu very late in life, but had I started later, it would have been harder. I wrestled in school, in high school, and I played football, and I ran track, and I played baseball, and I was just very active. And when I got away from that lifestyle for 10 to 20 years, well, nothing was fulfilling the way athletics was and were. So when I finally put my feet onto that jiu-jitsu mat, I had a lot of obstacles in the way of thriving in that environment. I had to get back into cardio shape, get back into strength shape for that specific sport. I had to go through all kinds of psychological challenges when younger, lesser specimens of build were just kind of punishing me and taking it to me. But it was worth it. It was 100% worth it. Because now at 44, I mean, 5 years into training or so, I see myself, unfortunately, in comparison to other individuals and friends in their mid-40s. And I am so grateful and thankful for, not only my abilities, but just my state of being. I'm getting stronger still. I'm getting more mobile still. My balance is still getting better. And these things that I'm prioritizing training are improving. And I hope that they are improving for another decade to longer. I'm sure that as I age, some things will start to decrease and will start to be less in ability than they were. And already, obviously, I do not have the cardio, the gas tank that I had when I was in my 20s or even before. But I have wisdom, I have maturity, I have a little bit of savviness and control and a methodical approach to things that I didn't have when I was younger. So as I continue consistently in this direction, I see that my goals are expanding and the things that I'm capable of are still expanding. And that in itself is a driving force and an inspiration to me that I have no problem going in and challenging myself repeatedly and consistently. And they say in jiu-jitsu, you are either the nail or you are the hammer. And I most definitely am both. And I will tell you this 100% matter of factly. I learn more being the nail. I learn more when somebody is bigger, stronger, better, faster, and I have to pay attention to the details of the things that are working for them and the details of things that are not working for me. 100% involved in the moment, there, present, with nothing else to distract me. In flow state, this is something that people talk about all the time, getting into flow state. It is so important that we have these things in life so that we're not thinking about our bills. We're not thinking about the things that we want to do every day, or grocery shopping, or the little monotonous activities that compose of living. We have to be fully present in the moment, and all of our attention is in that action, in that activity. And it's good for us. It's medicinal. Not only are we growing and maturing and having further understanding of the situations that we're in, but we are exercising something that it's very difficult for a lot of people to exercise when they do not engage in things that are super uncomfortable and demanding. And, well, if you weren't paying attention, there would be great consequences. It's like going out and surfing when you don't know how to surf. I guess that can become second nature and can become a completely an afterthought. And you can be out there thinking about, the environment and nature and other things while you're enjoying the water. But for some people, when you're getting used to it, you have to be 100% present. I enjoyed that about that activity when I decided to take it on. I had fears of the water that were so deeply ingrained into my psyche. I didn't understand I had them in the first place, from water, what's the word for it? Bad situations when I was a kid where I almost drowned, or I had a thought that I was almost drowning. And I buried that. And realized that once I had pushed myself into the ocean again and well beyond my comfort zone, that I started to understand what I was really doing. Oh my goodness, I am overcoming a fear. And it's a rational fear. Everybody can drown, but it was irrational in the regard that I had nothing to fear in the water. I could swim. And the situation that occurred when I was 4, 5 years old wasn't going to occur again because, well, the situations were different and circumstances were different. And I had to push myself in the water well beyond my point of comfort to achieve the results in the rest of my life that I didn't know I needed. The things that I had absolutely zero idea were necessary for me so that I could live more abundantly, more openly, and engage more activities like jujitsu. I think I found the ocean and the overcoming the fear there before jujitsu for a reason. I can't necessarily put the puzzle pieces together all the way in, even in this part of hindsight. But the goals that I have changed, and the things that I'm capable of have changed. And I look back and I understand step by step by step the actions that I took to become better, to improve, to be more well-rounded, and how they facilitated the next step in growth. That is mind-boggling still to this day, and will be looking back on wherever I'm at in 10 years or 20 years. The balance training that I started doing to get better on a stand-up paddleboard and surfing was to overcome an injury, but B, prepare me better so that I didn't get injured in the same ways. And then looking back on that years later, it is unbelievable how that serviced me going forward into the training that I do today. My balance is so much better, and my foundation and they call it a base in jiu-jitsu or wrestling, is so much stronger because of that training. And I didn't know at the time when I started engaging it that it would facilitate this at all. But it did. It has. And I'm so grateful for it, because injury prevention and just performance is on another level with that foundation. The idea that we're going to age and then we're going to have all the answers in some ways, but we're not going to enjoy life because of our deterioration in our bodies and our deterioration in our mind. It's a rational fear because we witnessed other people go through these things. But it's an irrational fear if we are aware of the steps that we can take now and the fundamental practices that we can incorporate into our daily life that can help us, well, change that narrative for somebody else and ourselves. And why not? If I'm on the mats doing jujitsu at 60 years old with some 20-year-old kid who has watched his 60-year-old grandfather not be able to move around the living room, and he knows that there is an alternative, well, he may just pursue the same things that I have that will help him improve on both of our parts. He won't be his grandfather, and he won't be what I am. He'll be better. That in itself is motivating. But just for me, for my family, for my friends, for my associates, for my network, that I can be more present and facilitate growth in other individuals as I'm still growing for myself. And I can inspire others to do things that they would not have thought possible based upon what other examples they have in their life. Well, I'm doing something positive, and I'm changing the world. I'm impacting lives for the better. Not just mine, but others around me. I hope my family members see some of the things that I've endured, that I've struggled through, and perhaps some of the ways that I've benefited from them. Embrace the discomfort and the situations that you know are going to spawn growth and facilitate well-being later, a better life later. I'm so grateful for the awareness. I'm so grateful for seeing some other people that were far, far further along in life and still improving than what I was accustomed to, what I had witnessed firsthand in my own family, in my own network. And those of you that are out there that are 10, 20 years ahead of me in life and are out there improving and setting that example, I am very grateful for your example. I'm grateful to you. Thank you very much. I am going to work on a little video to hopefully make it palatable for a viewer to understand the ways that this thought process and kind of the improvements that I got into 5 years ago or longer have facilitated an extreme amount of growth for myself, and will hopefully continue to lay a foundation for improving for a lot longer and for living a much higher quality of life late in life. Age-defying fitness. It's absolutely priceless. Quality of life late in life and having a high quality of life is priceless. They say health is wealth, and I could not possibly agree more. So if I accumulated a few less bucks in my midlife's journey, but I accumulated a few more years and of high quality later, well, then it's far worth it. It's well worth it. Anyways, if you're on YouTube, please like and subscribe. I appreciate it very much. Help me grow that channel. And listen to my podcast on other outlets that you enjoy. I'm grateful to you as well. Thanks for joining me. This was episode 31, Age Defying Fitness. This is the Josh Button Podcast. I'll see you all soon.